Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Welcome to the course of Computer Graphics CS443. It's lecture number 15, and today we'll discuss about buffering concepts. Today we will discuss about what is double buffering in animation, how it plays a very a critical role in animation, and we will do some hands-on in animation examples in OpenGL. So, what is buffering? When referring to memory, a buffer is a temporary storage in the memory that stores information while processing other information. So, for example, when you are downloading a video or an audio file from the internet, it may load the first 20% of it into a buffer and then begin to play. So you have seen this scenario multiple times, and this scenario came across to you multiple times when you are downloading videos from an internet or watching live streaming of any game like cricket and football. Then that stream is coming to a temporary area in your computer's memory, and then it will run when a sufficient buffer is filled. So buffering is a concept that is widely used in video streaming, audio streaming, and in computer graphics, it has a very great role. So video card sends images to a buffer before they are displayed on the screen, and as a result known as a screen buffer. So online buffering, as I told, happens when streaming music and videos play before they play. So buffering is a important concept, and buffering allows you to watch or listen the media almost instantly by downloading a small portion and then playing the file while remainder downloads. So the concept of buffer is to store some media or some audio file or video file in the temporary storage in the computer's memory, and then after when a sufficient amount of data is collected, it begins to play. So let's move on. There is another concept which is called double buffering. It is a very important concept in computer graphics, and it plays a very important role in animation. First of all, let's see what its definition says. It is a term used to describe a device that has two buffers. So, as its name suggests, double buffer. So, it describes a device that has two buffers. The use of multiple buffers increases the overall throughput of our device. So as you know, what we call a throughput, and what is the advantage of multiple buffers? Multiple buffers basically increases the overall throughput. And what is the throughput? I hope you have the basic know-how of the throughput. Throughput is the rate of production or the rate at which something is processed. So overall processing of your videos or audio files increased and helps prevent bottlenecks. This is the main advantage of this double buffer. That with the help of double buffering, it helps to prevent bottlenecks. For example, with graphics, double buffering can show one image or frame while a separate frame is being buffered to be shown next. Double buffering provides two complete color buffers for use in drawing in computer graphics. One buffer is displayed while the other buffer is being drawn into. When the drawing is complete, the two buffers are swapped so that the one that was being viewed is now used for drawing. The swap is almost instantaneous and thus provides a means of performing animation like the way a sequence of still photographs rapidly displayed appear to depict a moving object. So double buffering, it has multiple advantages. First, with the help of double buffering, we can give illusion to the user by moving frames so rapidly. One frame of the video is currently moving on the screen, and while the other frame is in the buffer. So buffer swaps that frame to the first frame when needed. So with the help of this technique, double buffering, we can move frames, video frames so faster. This method makes animations and games. So as you can judge, double buffering is a method that is used widely in animations and games. We use double buffering in animations and games, and with the help of this method, those games and animations looks more realistic than the same done in a single buffer mode. Single buffer mode is still in use nowadays, but it is not recommended because it slows down the overall frame moving rate. So it's all about double buffering. This is the main concept of double buffering. This is the advantage. It increases the overall throughput, and with the help of this, we make animations and games looks more realistic. So, in computer graphics, double buffering is a technique for drawing graphics that shows no or less stutter, tearing, and other artifacts. I hope you have seen this stutter when you are playing games, PUBG, and so many games are there nowadays, multi-user games. When your system has no GPU, then this artifact, which is known as stuttered, happens. Or there is also another artifact which is called tearing happens. So you have came across these stuttering and tearing in your games when those games are too much heavy. So it is rendering anomaly. Stutter and tearing is a rendering anomaly that occurs that causes the time between frames to noticeably vary. So when the time frames are not moving in a timely manner, then these two effects will occur, uh, stutter and tearing. This is admittedly a very generic definition, but it's also a definition and necessary to encompass all the different causes of stuttering. There is also a phenomena which is called frame stuttering, that occurs when the display is anticipating a new frame to be delivered from the GPU. But the GPU misses its mark and thus must wait for the next cycle before pushing the new data to the display. So these two artifacts, you came across these two artifacts when you are playing games. This is basically a lagging effect. Uh, Lag, we call it a lag, delay of frame processing. One frame is, you see one frame that is coming on your screen so slowly and slowly that you will irritate. And tearing is basically when two frames are combined together and then displayed later on in one clear picture. So these two phenomena are called anomalies in displaying and in display. These are basically anomalies in display. And it is difficult for a program to draw a display so that pixels do not change more than once. So for when we are talking about a program, then in that case, if that program is running on a single CPU and not on a GPU, and then it is very difficult to draw a display so that the pixels do not change more than once. So with the help of this concept, double buffering, we can eliminate this problem when a program wants to draw a display, but the pixels do not change more than once. So with the help of this technique, double buffering, we can eliminate or remove this anomaly. Okay. So for instance, when updating a page of text, it is much easier to clear the entire page. In the case of HTML web pages, you can see that when we are updating a page of text, it is much easier to clear the entire page and then draw the letters, then to somehow erase only the pixels that are used in old letters, but now in the new ones. But in the case of pictures and in the case of images, it is very difficult to draw or update the same page. In the case of when you are using when you are talking about HTML pages, it is very easy to update a page. But when we are talking about images and pictures, then it is very difficult to redraw the whole picture uh, instantaneously. So however, this intermediate image is seen by the user as flickering. So this is also a flickering is also a anomaly. You have came across flickering when you are displaying images on your screen, and your screen sometimes stops and displaying two images together. Half of the image you've seen two images, but those images are in half position. So Let's see what is tearing. This is an example of tearing. In this picture, you can see that this is the same picture, but this is a tearing effect. You can see this is tear number one, and you can see that this is tear number two, and you can see that this is the same picture, but that picture is appearing two times. This is the same picture, but that picture is appearing two times, and it is cutting over here. This picture is cutting over here, same picture, but different positions. So that's a simulated image of what a typical video tearing artifacts looks like. In this image, the video device output buffers has been rewritten twice in the amount of time normally allotted for just one monitor refresh cycle. So this is basically what we would like to say, monitor refresh cycle. This effect is generated by the monitor refresh cycle. Okay, monitor, I will write over here, monitor refresh cycle is too much slow. Monitor refresh cycle. This is the effect that is caused by monitor refresh cycle, and that effect is called tearing effect. Same picture, but because the monitor screen is not refreshing at a specific intervals of times, so as a result, this effect of tearing will be shown. This artifact occurs when the video feed to the device is not in sync with the display refresh rate. So this is a display's refresh rate is not sync. When the display's monitor refresh rate is not sync, then you will see this tearing effect. And this is also anomaly in computer graphics. So double buffering is a technique for reducing flicker in animations. So as you can see that with the help of double buffering, we can reduce so many anomalies like stuttering and tearing, and there is another anomaly which is called flickering. What is a flicker? By the way, flicker is a visible change in brightness between cycles displayed on video displays. There is a long-term brightness or short-term brightness. So this is the flicker, and it applies especially to the refresh interval on cathode ray tube, which we call CRT, especially in televisions and computer monitors, as well as plasma-based computer screens and televisions like LEDs and LCDs, etc. So sometimes you see this effect which is called flicker. Your screen flickers, and this effect is in animations that at first might seem a little counterintuitive. This is very irritative. And the problem stems from the fact that when a new animation frame is rendered, it is desirable to first clear the old frame. So this is how flickering occurs. When a new frame is rendered, it is desirable to first clear the old frame. But in flickering, the first old frame is not cleared. So as a result, there is a delay in showing the new screen, new animated frame. So as a result, flicker occurs. So this is the main definition of flickering. And how it occurs: when a new animation frame is rendered, it is desirable to first clear the old frame. So in flickering, the old frame is not cleared, and as a result, the flicker will occur. So as a result, we can see the flicker will occur. The basic idea of double buffering is to create a virtual screen out of the user's view. So this is the basic idea of double buffering, how we use double buffering in our what is the methodology of double buffering. So in that case, we create a virtual screen out of the user's view. So we are at the same time using two screens. One is the real screen and the other one is the virtual screen. And we are projecting a virtual screen to the user. So the modern graphics cards always use a double buffering. So you can judge from NVIDIA cards or graphics cards um, that they are using double buffering techniques. So that's why they are rendering so fast and their performance is too much good. So this is the main reason. This is an optimization technique. Double buffering is an optimization technique in computer graphics and image processing. In So many areas you can use double buffering in online video streaming, audio streaming. You are using double buffering. So double buffering is a concept that is widely used in so many areas. Okay. So what will be the result when we use a double buffer or double buffering technique? Without double buffering, the display can flicker terribly. So if we are not using double buffering, then the display will flicker. And what causes the flickering? This is the question. The graphic system is constantly erasing and redying the scene. This is a normal day-to-day operation in graphic systems, constantly erasing and redying the scene. And the monitor is constantly refreshing the screen. Okay, this is also happening in almost all screens. So most modern monitors refresh between 50 to 100 times per second. So every 10 to 20 milliseconds, this is the total time period of refreshing the screens, monitor screens, and to 50 to 100 times per second. And if the screen is refreshed when the new image is only partly drawn, this includes filling areas in the frame buffer. We see briefly that's partial image in the previous screen, and that causes the flicker. So, what is the workaround of this problem, uh, flickering, and how can we use double buffer technique to overcome this problem? The solution to overcome this flickering problem is to somehow synchronize the two as so that the monitor never draws an incomplete image. So with the help of synchronization, we can eliminate this problem. And how it is done, the monitor reads out from the front buffer. First, the monitor takes inputs from the front buffer, and the graphic system draws into the back buffer. Monitor is reading its data from the front buffer, and the graphic system draws into the back buffer. When it draws, when its operation draws operation is completed, then they swap. So the monitor always reads from the front buffer, and the graphics system draws into the back buffer. When the draw operation is completed, they swap. So the data in the back buffer now is going to the front buffer. Okay. So this is the way with the help of which we can use to eliminate flickering anomaly. So the names front and back buffers are conventional. The front buffer is the one that is on stage. The front line player is on the stage, which is called front buffer, and the back buffer is the one that is being prepared for the next scene. So the next scene is always in the back buffer, and the front buffer is always taking its data, and it is always on the stage. So uh, how can we use double buffers in OpenGL programs? So there is a routine which is called glut init display mode. Glut init display mode. This is a routine, and try to remember this name, this function. And this is called glut init display mode. And here we are giving it an argument which is called glut double. And this declaration, what it does, it converts your program in a double buffer mode. So we give this statement in the main function. So we are declaring that our program in OpenGL program is using a double buffering mode, and we do this in the main method. And the second one is glut swap buffers. As you can see that one is the what does this function do? Glut swap buffers. It is basically using this concept of front and back buffers. This is already explained to you, front and back buffers. So this is a method. Glut swap buffer is a method that implements that concept, front buffers and the back buffers. And this function, glut in a display mode function, is a declaration statement that tells that we are using a double buffer mode in our program. So The first tells OpenGL that we want to use double buffering, so it sets up two buffers and it automatically draws in the back buffer. So it is automatically drawing in the back buffer but taking data from the front buffer. Okay, the second says that the program is done drawing in the back buffer and to swap it with the front buffer. Same concept. We implement the previously explained concepts with the help of these two functions, glut init display mode and glut swap buffers. So the combination means that when we do animations or even just move the viewpoint with the mouse, we do not get any flicker. So as it is told to you multiple times that we eliminate anomalies like stuttering and tearing and flickering with the help of this buffering concept. So this combination of glut init display mode, glut double and glut swap buffers, we use this when we do animations or even just move the viewpoint with the mouse. So this is a very good concept in computer graphics, and it's an optimization technique in various fields. So let's move on and try to make a small program in OpenGL that implements this buffering concept. So let's move on. I'm going to switch on my screen of Visual Studio and see what happens there. So this is the Visual Studio 2011, and we are going to see an animation example with the help of double buffering techniques and swap buffer techniques. So let's move on and see. Okay, this is the program. As you can see that first of all, we have imported these libraries glut.h and feed.glut.h with the help of this, as I have told you this multiple times, properties and then include directories, and then edit and then this path. Okay, you can, for the sake of your simplicity, I can remove, but uh, edit and then here is the path. This is the, I did this, explain you this, and then include directory and then GL. So this is the concept which I have told you multiple times. So let's have a look at the program and try to understand what is this. So here you can see, first of all, we have the functions. We have a main function, and in this program we will draw some lines because of GL lines function. So this is the main function. Glut init. This is the first. This is the by default way we write way. This is the by default way in which we write code. We always write glut init statement in main statement, and it is the first statement. And then there is another statement which states that we are using a single buffer mode or say a double buffer mode. So how we declare that we are using a double buffer mode in our program with the help of this function, glut init display mode and glut double function. Okay, and RGB, glut RGB is for red, green, and blue colors. And this is the window size, and this is the window position, and you can rename this start window as animation example number one, animation example number one. Okay, and after that we are calling an initialize routine which is declared over here, initialize function, and then we are registering a display function draw, which draws these lines, which is draw these lines, GL lines. Okay, so we are drawing lines, but how we can do this? We will register our function draw with this routine, and there is a timer function which rotates lines after firing some when the with the help of a timer. In short terms, with the help of a timer, we have made this timer so that our lines can show animations. So animations are based on timer concept. Animations are played on specific intervals or milliseconds, seconds. So that's why we are using this timer function. and this is the main loop which redraws objects on the screen multiple times, and this is a return zero function. So I hope you have the basic understanding of how we write code in OpenGL. And the main statement that needs our attention is this glut double function, and all of the things are, and this timer function. These functions are important, and these draw functions. Okay, display mode, draw, and this timer. The other statements, you have seen these statements multiple times. So let's discuss this draw function. There is a timer. Glut pose display marks the current window as needing to be redisplayed. So it marks the current window as needing to be redisplayed, and this is a glut timer function that fires or rotates our animation multiple times in a specified number of milliseconds, 30 milliseconds. Starting is 0. This is a timer object, and this is the total time interval, 30 milliseconds, and this is the callback function. Basically, as a library when it needs to know how to process something. Okay, it's a callback function, and you know what is a callback function? Callback function is a basically an event handler. When a specific event occurs, like suppose we are pressing some keys on the keyboard, then those keys are firing some events. So in that case, the functions that handles those events are called callbacks. So this is a callback that fires on specific intervals. This is a timer function, and this is a draw function. So we did some global variables declared, like gf pose x 0, 0.0, and then for creating different vertices of these GL lines. So declare those global variables at the top of your program, and then this is the draw function. In this function, you can see that there is a function which is called GL clear buffer bit, and then we are using colors, and then we are drawing lines by using these functions, giving them three arguments, first argument and second argument, and then this function ends over here. So we have discussed these functions in our class and in the previous lectures, and so this is the main area which needs attention. It is called glut swaps buffers. So swaps the buffers of the current window if double buffered. So this is the main purpose of this statement, glut swap buffers. So this statement is important. This statement is new, and this declaration is the glut double, with the help of which we can create animations and so on. And timer is also a function that gives timing information and firing animations on specific time intervals. So let's try to run this program and see what happens. I'm going to build this program first, and then I will run it. It's succeeded. Okay, as you can see, let me maximize the screen. These are the lines, GL lines, and these lines are rotating on a specific time intervals, and we have captured those time intervals with the help of our timer function. So these lines are rendered one by one, or redraw one by one, by using the concept of double buffering, swap buffers and double buffering. So this is the animation with the help of which you can see that how we use this glut init display mode glut double function in the main method, and the glut swap buffers at the end of the display method. So this is an example number 1. Now let's close this one and move on another one. Open. Okay. I think this is the same example. Yes, this is the same example. Let's close the solution and open another one. This is view and then start page. Okay, so this is a second example. This is a comment. This program demonstrates double buffering for Flickr free animation. Okay, as I told you that we are using double buffering technique to overcome anomalies, stuttering and flickering and tearing. So it spins a white square on a black background. A wide square, it rotates a wide square on a black background. Okay, so this is the way which we write code. This is for Apple systems. No need to write this. Uh, so spinning, we have declared a static variable spinning true. This is the number of frames per second to render. Frames per second, as it names, is 60 frames per second. So this is the purpose of these two the declarations. This global variable keeps track of the front rotation of the square. So it is better to maintain the state of the animation globally rather than trying to successfully accumulate transformations. So this is the purpose, and then we are rotating angle of we also use this statement. This is called angle of rotation because we are rotating a square on different on the same point but on different angles. So that's why we need this variable which is called current angle of rotation. What is the this function? This is the ratio function which is taking two arguments, width and height, and this is the viewport, and these are the statements, programming statements. We are calculating aspect ratio by using typecasting. This is the typecasting information width and height. We are typecasting both variables in GL float and GL float. And then we are using GL matrix mode projection, and then we are using GL node identity function, and then here we are using projections, orthogonal projections, different arguments. You can debug this program for more information. I will share this when we upload this on KCMS. Okay, so this is the display function. Clear buffer bit, same statements. You have seen these statements multiple times. And this is the rotation information. The point to be noted here is swap buffers and GL flush. Okay, and this is the timer information. Like in our previous example, we have seen timer because why we use timer in any because uh, we are going to display or refresh the things on a specific time intervals. For that reason, we use a timer. So when we are making animations in OpenGL, we are always using a timer. So please remember this point. When we are making animations, we are using timers, and swap buffers function is a must for animations, and double buffering technique is a must for. So let's discuss this main function, let init, and get display mode. Here again we are using double buffering technique, position, window size, spinning square as the title, and reshape function, reshape and display. We are displaying or reshaping, registering these two functions. These are user defined functions, and get timer function 100 milliseconds starting 0, and mouse function, um, and let main loop. So, and here is handles mouse events as follows: when the left button is pressed, generate new animation frames while the application is idle. When the right button is pressed, remove any idle time callbacks, then stopping the animation. So let's see what happens when we press left button and right button. So I'm going to build this program first, and then I will see what happens. Build succeeded, and now I'm going to run this program. So this is the okay. As you can see, I pressed the right key of the mouse, then its rotation is stopped. When I pressed the left button of the mouse, and then this rotation started with different animation speeds. Okay, first it slow downs and then it automatically fastens. Okay, when I click the mouse right click button, it stops, and then when I click the left button, it started. So this is how we used Double buffering techniques with the help of GLUT inner display mode and GLUT swap buffers. Uh, so try to write your own programs. I will give you some examples, assignments in which you will create different animations for your assignment. Uh, so this is all about. So dear students, this is all about your today's topic, buffering concepts. So thank you. If you have any questions regarding your regarding this lecture, so email me at awaz.qureshi@the.cus.edu.pk. Seeing you in your next lecture. Till then, Allah Hafiz.